Knicks from last night, BT. For me, I know you were upset about the loss. Well, look, we all were upset about the loss, but you got more upset about their loss to the Magic than I did. People were going nuts about that. I didn't use the excuse, but the reality was they were without Karl-Anthony Towns. So while the Magic were limited, so were the Knicks. That's why I think last night was worse, even than losing to the Thunder. The Thunder are a very good team. There's no excuse. Pistons may be better than we think, but they're not as good as the Knicks. And losing a game where you're at near full strength, where you got all your stars healthy, at home, in a rough stretch, the way that they played in the game, I thought last night was the worst loss of the season so far.
Problems start to pile up here, Sal. The problems are becoming more and more evident the more you watch the Knicks. This is now an unavoidable discussion. Yeah, I do disagree with the Magic and the Pistons. The Pistons have been playing much better. They're actually a pretty competent team at this point. But I mean, listen, even without Karl-Anthony Towns, you could play the Warriors from 7 years ago. You take away their top four scorers with Jalen Brunson, Bridges, OG, supposed to win the game. So we do disagree on that. But last night, here's my biggest problem. Two things really jump out. Number one, and this has been a theme throughout, the Pistons bench had 46 points. The Knicks had 13. I mean, I don't know how much longer we could keep kicking this on down the road. Well, the Knicks bench isn't that good. Well, I mean, the Knicks bench it's not good. You know, and it's now almost the middle of January. It ain't getting better. It's getting worse. And McBride's back. I mean, 46-13, number one. Number two, and now this is a fundamental problem that is now becoming, let's face it, part of this team's DNA. They are soft on defense. You would think that the Knicks, you know, whether it's the Bulls game a week ago, the Thunder game when they got blitzed in the second half, the home game against the Thunder when they got embarrassed and smoked by 30, basically, the Magic game that we referenced, you're back at the Garden, all right? You come out, you talk about, Josh Hart spoke about agendas and egos. They come out and they allow almost 40 points to the Pistons in the first quarter. Where is the focus? Where is the defensive connectivity? Like, this team... It's just...
I'm tired of getting... Sorry, BT. I'm getting tired of hearing Josh Hart, too, after the games. I know he's, like, standing up and being accountable. We played the soundbite yesterday.
Yep.
It's the same thing over and over again. Like, if you're saying the same thing, but there is no difference, that's a problem. I'm not going to go nuts. I still think everything is there for the Knicks. They could still be a championship team. Like, if I had to bet my life on it right now, would they win the championship? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. But it's still the main issue to me. I don't think... Karl-Anthony Towns is soft or Mikal Bridges isn't a good fit. Like, I think the Knicks have the pieces in place. I think they have a problem defensively, and unfortunately, the way that they are built, it is heavily reliant, even with all these stars, on Mitchell Robinson. So if he's not going to be healthy, then they're screwed. If he is healthy and comes back, then maybe everything starts from the rim out, and he could be the rim protector, and things get easier defensively. Yes. Last night, I wanted to punch the screen. I was just sitting there watching it.
Yeah, I saw some angry tweets from you. You were into it. I respect that.
Because they did the same thing twice on the Malik Beasley.
When he was hitting threes, you mean?
You're running and chasing down Hardaway. Let Hardaway shoot the three.
Well, he's a pretty good shooter, too, Hardaway. That's all he can do.
I'd rather him shoot it, but you cannot leave Beasley open, who's the better three-point shooter. You can't leave him open, and they did it twice, and it was the nail in the coffin. Not to mention Towns' stupid foul where he got...
He always commits a lot of dumb fouls.
Overly aggressive for no reason.
He's a sloppy fouler.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bad... It was just a bad stretch, a frustrating night. But, yeah, defensive issues are primary for the Knicks. You cannot allow 37 points in the first quarter at home to anybody, let alone the Pistons.
Listen, I certainly understand that there's varying degrees of reaction to how we unpack what's transpired the last 2 weeks or so. I don't want to go nuts and go over the top. I'm a little bit more alarmed than maybe some others, maybe slightly more than you, and definitely more than some. But, you know, even for those who aren't really truly concerned yet, like this goes on for another week or so, it's going to be a 5-alarm fire for the Knicks. Like, they can't hide forever. We're not going to be talking about who the Jets are going to hire forever. We're not going to be talking about who the Giants quarterback is going to be forever. Like, eventually the focus is going to switch to the Knicks, who made a massive move this summer, too, with the designs on winning a championship, and they're going backwards. Well, that's just the way it is right now. They're going backwards.
Well, here's where I'll call a timeout on that and slow you down for a second. They still are the third seed. So, like, we are holding them to a much higher standard, as we should, because we're talking about championship level, and we've seen championship offense at times from this team throughout the course of the year, but we have not seen a championship team. We have not seen that championship level competitively, whatever, defensively, consistently with this group. It's still only midway through the season, so there's still time and then on in the playoffs. And I think the game against the Sixers is that tomorrow night, Wednesday night?
Yeah, they play every other night. They have a pretty busy week.
Like that to me is going to be Sixers. I know have been struggling still a little bit, but they've been better. I just want to see some fight with this group. Point is, we still can evaluate this team. We got to see what happens with Mitch. I'm not going to say that it's going to be completely off the rails. Like as slow as it's been to develop into a legitimate championship team night in, night out, they're still the third best team in the conference.
Yeah, that means less and less to me. Not that I don't want to at least hold on to the three. I do, but like the two teams in front of them have proven to be much better than them this year.
Right.
So that's alarming. Number one, whenever they play the Celtics, they don't win. And even though they beat the Cavaliers in the playoffs, I mean, the Cavaliers beating the Thunder. They never lose.
I will rank the Knicks right now without, like, we don't watch all the games, obviously, as far as around the league, but you would say clearly the Thunder are clearly better. And again, I'm not going to get into the Rockets or Grizzlies or Nuggets.
Let's just stick at the Eastern Conference.
Okay, right.
Boston, better. Cavaliers right now, better.
And that's what I was going to say. At least three definitively with the Thunder, with the Cavs, with the Celtics.
Yep. If the Magic when they get Ponchero's not even playing like that. Again, they're really hurt.
Okay, but okay, we're talking about 3-4 teams that are better than the Knicks right now.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like,
but that's why I'm not getting too excited, because the teams behind them. I mean, the teams behind them didn't just give up 5 first-round picks and then to just lose a few components that a lot of you had to trade Randall. Hartenstein could only make $17 million. I get that. There were circumstances that kind of handcuffed the Knicks. But here's the other problem, Sal. So we keep saying, and there might be some validity to this. You get Robinson back. You can play Cat at the 4 a little bit. Mitch protect the rim. Different look. Got it. No doubt. Defense improves. Mitchell Robinson is not even sprinting yet. I read that today. He's not even sprinting yet. And for a big man who's had multiple ankle and foot injuries, even once he starts sprinting, there's no guarantee there's not a setback. So now it becomes more complicated. Hoff, can you double check, bud? When is the NBA trade deadline? Just tell us on air whenever you know. Because the Knicks might be in a situation where they get Robinson back and they don't make a trade, and he appears healthy, and then he gets hurt again, and then they can't make a trade.
Yeah, they have to make a trade. Interestingly enough, the one thing that I keep reading about is Jericho Sims being on the block for the Knicks. What you have?
I have the deadline. It's Thursday, February 6th at 3 p.m.
Yeah, dude, that's only a couple weeks ago away.
That's sneaking up.
I can promise you, Mitch Robinson will not play a game before February 6th. I can promise you that.
Gonna have to, and now you've been seeing that they're trying to trade, or I guess at least
Jericho Sims.
Yeah.
Well, who the hell wants him?
Well, I'm just saying. But the point is, they need to, especially with the uncertainty of Mitch, they need to find the best defensive big that they could possibly find and go get him. And
there's not many anymore.
I understand
isn't the 80s and the 90s.
But go find one.
There's all wings, and they got a million wings.
They had what's his name? Nerlens Noel. They had who's the other guy they kept bringing back here from Chicago?
Burks.
Taj Gibson.
Taj Gibson.
I'm just saying, just go find a body. Dude, well, they don't have one right now.
Well, that's kind of why I'm a little more worried than you.
And by the way, Cat could be hurt. I mean,
he's limping around a little bit with that knee, and he's missed a couple games because of the knee.
And they have no good answer. Hoff had a tweet. You were telling us a tweet before. What's that tweet with the minutes so far?
Yeah, first of all, by the way, Patrick Ewing keeps on showing up to games. Maybe you put him in the game.
I see Patrick has ingratiated himself. Nice to see the big fella back in the house.
Will he be there?
Patrick Ewing.
Will he be there for Georgetown tonight?
He better be. And if he does, he's going to walk out with the big L chain. He's going to take it from Evan's neck. Smack those Hoyas tonight. What do you got, Hoff?
Stefan Bonnie put down as of today, every Knicks starter in the NBA's top 10 total minutes played. So Mikal Bridges is 1, Hart 2, OG 3, Brunson is 6, but I think he's actually 5.
Yeah.
And Karl-Anthony Towns is 10. Bridges has 1,592 minutes.
It's not sustainable. We talked about that, especially with Karl-Anthony Towns. Problem is right now they have no choice. Even if they did have choices, I'm not so sure how Tibbs would handle it. But my two biggest concerns, forget about the loss that annoyed me last night, my two biggest concerns, defense and the wear and tear on those minutes. It was one thing to do it prior to this talent. With this type talent, BT, Tibbs cannot run these guys into the ground the way that he normally does.
Okay. They have the L chain. How about we have a little concession speech here on the show? Will you at least grant me this, that I was right about Hartenstein? Would you at least grant me
No,
this?
well,
How you just glossed over Hartenstein's departure?
No,
hey, not big. It'll be all right.
You wanted Hartenstein instead of Karl-Anthony Towns, and there's no way I would ever concede that.
Well, no, because Hartenstein wasn't for Towns. That was the Randall DiVincenzo trade, so I was good with that.
No, I understood.
Even though I love DiVincenzo, I knew you had to make the trade.
We were talking about big for big.
I'm talking about last year when he was on the Knicks, Hartenstein. Like, the guy's such a good player. He's underrated, man. They miss him.
I will concede and admit that I did not that I underrated Hartenstein last year. Forget about the changes this year.
Fair enough.
I'd much rather have Karl-Anthony Towns than Hartenstein any day of the week.
Why can't we have both?
Well,
you couldn't because of the...
They literally couldn't, which is the problem. Yeah. But yes, I minimized what Hartenstein meant. And I said many times in the offseason, if I could keep one big, I'd rather have Mitch because he's a better defender than Hartenstein, and the Knicks get the better offense with Towns. Problem is, and you would always say this, well, that's great if Mitch could stay healthy. And not only can he not stay healthy, he can't get healthy right now. He's a big piece. All these acquisitions, all the picks they get up, all the star power that they have, it still comes down to Mitch Robinson?
It shouldn't. And here's the other thing, too. Now, I remember saying this a couple of weeks ago, and it's only getting worse. So the stats, and Hop, if I heard you right, the Knicks starters, the 5 of the Knicks are in the top 10 minutes played in the NBA?
The 5 starters on the Knicks are in the top 10.
Amongst the top 10 of the NBA. Okay, that's interesting. So, if the Knicks had a record like the Cavaliers, and they're chasing the 1 seed, and, there's an immediate dividend for playing these big minutes, maybe I'd be a little more okay with it. But you're not even going to host the Eastern Conference Finals if you get there. At this stage, you wouldn't even host the conference semifinals in terms of a Game 7 if you get there. And you're still running these guys into the ground. So at what cost?
No, they've got to dial it back. He's got to dial it back.
He's not going to.
But they're trying to figure out defensively. They're just not doing anything well enough defensively with any consistency whatsoever. That's been a problem from the first night until now, midway through the season. So it's on Tibbs. It's on for those guys to figure it out. But until they do, the Knicks have no shot at a championship. So they need that, plus they need to lower the minutes a little bit from these guys. Because you know what's right around the corner. You hate to say it, but somebody's going to get banged up, and they're really going to be screwed.
Ugh.
Then that's going to compromise where they are in the standings and make the postseason that much more difficult. Even if they do get Mitch back, they're going to be battling uphill anyway. Maybe taking on one of these top 2 teams in the first round. Who knows?
It's disappointing. Now, it's still not even early, but it's middle-ish of the season. Disappointed.
3 games,
I like
though.
what I'm saying.
3 games separate them and the Celtics in the standings.
I get that, but it seems like it's 3 planets in terms of championship viability right now. You know what I mean? It just feels so different.
I get
Can't
it.
Stop anybody.
But there is an overreaction that is taking place in this town. It's like the Knicks lose a few games. Hey, they're a good team. They're going to go on a bad stretch. It's unfortunate, but that's just the reality. They're also banged up. They're not deep right now. They need to make some moves. Bottom line is they need to make some moves. It doesn't have to be superstar moves.
I know what you're saying.
But the best defensive big you can find, get him and get another piece for the bench.
Well, I got news for you. I don't think we're overreacting to the Knicks here. That doesn't mean that we'll be proven right. And by the way, I hope that I'm not. That these concerns go away and they figure it out. Mitch comes back, make a trade, get a little reinforcement on the bench. Knicks get on a run, and here we go. Playing into June, and it's like everybody kind of hoped and or thought. But hey, when I joke around with Soto, the crown's heavy, don't trip. The Knicks are no longer a cute little story. The Knicks are now supposed to be among the best teams in our city. And the Knicks are supposed to be on the path to a championship. Now, I'm not saying that they won't get there this year, but right now, today, they're going backwards. They're going the wrong way. It's undeniable.
I know, but with all that being said, and I'm not disagreeing with you, I don't know if I'd say they're going backwards.
They are. They're losing at home. They're losing to teams they shouldn't lose to.
But that happens. But they still have the 5th best record.
To the Cavaliers.
They still have the fifth best record in the entire league. So how far backwards could they be going?
Going into the season, did you think the Knicks had a real chance to get to be a champion? Going into the do you think they have a chance now?
I do. Yeah,
but to the same extent, same degree.
Yes, that's where we're disagreeing. That I'm not changing how I felt about this team coming in. Obviously, that we've now seen them for a full half of a season, it's a little disappointing in that we know we need to see more. I was hoping by this point they'd really start to be gelling and clicking, specifically defensively. I don't know what the answers are defensively other than they need a rim-protecting big, which you hope comes in Mitch. But even is that going to be the answer? I don't know because they've been god-awful on the perimeter. I thought that was going to be better with OG and Bridges, two of the best perimeter defenders in the league.
Among the best. Every metric supports that.
So then why did they suck defensively?
I point this out. Jalen he's a turnstile up top. top, and it
Yeah.
leaves them vulnerable. They're chasing.
But BT, he's been there the last couple of years. And
But you had Mitch, you had Hartenstein.
Well, okay, but that's, so that's the point.
You know,
they need Mitch back big time. That's
and we're good. So here we go. The fate of the 2024-25 Knicks.
And can they? And now
Mitch Robinson.
Now
That's reassuring. Fantastic.
And I need you to admit that maybe you were wrong on things here.
Ooh.
One maybe piece aside from getting a big, maybe they could bring in. Like I loved them, and you were a little lukewarm. Maybe they could get back DiVincenzo. Bring Devo back and have him off the bench.
So I would love it.
I know you. I'm just joking. He's another guy that
I love him. He's not even playing particularly well for Minnesota. He fit here. He fit them.
He'd get them to play a little tougher than what they've been.
I know.
They've been a little. They have been as a group, I think, a little soft.
You know what they're missing? You know, and again, as you said, Devo, I wouldn't even. I was thinking more.
Yeah.
Mitch. With not Mitch, Hartenstein. With the DiVincenzo, DiVincenzo. He's got balls. I hate to say it, but he does. And I know that a lot of the other Knicks do, but Dante shows it. His emotion, how he reacts, his body language, he's a little jagged edged. He's a little unpredictable. And, OG, cool customer. Bridges, cool customer. Brunson, cool customer. Cat, relatively cool. They need that.
Yeah, I know.
They need a little pit bull in there.
They're too tame.
There you go.
Somebody got
a dog analogy.
Poke the bear a little bit.
Let's go.
Wake them up. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Devo's the easy answer. Maybe there's somebody else that could come in and shake them up a little bit. BT and Sal on the Fan. We'll get back to your calls on the other side. Also, jamming up the A-gap, the weekend in review.